All right, welcome back. We are jinpa Course 3, Class 2. Class 2. This is January 21st, 2026. Let's gather our minds here as we usually do, please. Bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom. And see them there with you just by way of your thinking of them. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion, their wisdom radiating from them, that beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize that the worldly ways we try fall short. And how wonderful it will be when we can also help them in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Working with emptiness and karma, we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow that wish into a longing. And that longing into an intention. And with that strong intention, turn your mind back to this precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet, to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please, please, please teach me that. Show me that. Help me become like you. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the perfect world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands, and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with the blanket of flowers. The great mountain, four lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Nirhyatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may all beings totally awaken for the benefit of every single other. So settle your body in. Use your sequence. It triggers that body to park itself. And then has no need to do anything else. And then you draw the focus of your mind's attention to your breath at the tip of your nostrils, focusing clearly, keenly in on that vision or sensation, however it is for you. How much struggle is it to keep that focus on your breath at your nostrils? Is my mind happy to just sit there? Or does it keep popping off? If it keeps popping off, is your attitude about it frustrated or disappointed or needing to work harder, or what's the reaction? If our minds won't happily, enjoyably stay parked on the object that we offer it, there is some doubt in us as to the benefit of having our mind parked on a given object on purpose. Some resistance. Now let your focus on the breath fall away and focus instead on your reason for being here in a class about meditation. There is a part of us that wants to reach that state of stillness in order to have the experience of ultimate reality directly. There is a part of us that understands, that knows the incredible importance of that experience. Every opportunity to meditate is an opportunity to train our restless mind to focus when we want it to focus on the thing we want it to focus on. So grow that intention stronger, that deep desire, deep need to get closer and closer to ultimate reality. And our understanding of the quality of our mind's attention to be able to do that. And with that clearly in mind, again, park your mind on your breath at your nostrils. Keep it there. Check. Are you on or off? If you're on, is the mind bright, clear, eager, or getting dull? Make your adjustments. Notice again. Is that mind happy to be on this simple object? Or is it struggling with you? Or are you struggling with it? Now intentionally shift your mind's focus from the breath to another kind of intention that we might bring to our practice. Think about the truth of the fact that we could be dead tomorrow. And be thrown into a completely different place, completely different identity, with no opportunity to practice, no inclination, no knowing of meditation at all. What if this session were our last opportunity? Feel even the resistance to using that as a motivation. And coax yourself to lean into it. This is my last chance. Now, turn your mind's focus again to your breath, those sensations at your nostrils. As if your life depends upon it. Check. Does your mind feel the same now as it did the first instant we turned back to the breath? Knowing this was our last chance, has it faded? Tune it back up. Check again. On or off. Quality. Make your adjustment. Get back on that breath. One more minute. Nice. Now intentionally release your focus on your breath. Become aware of being here in your body, in your room. Dedicate to making progress in your focus, clarity, and intensity. When you're ready, open your eyes, take a stretch. Thank you. I admit that 1 minute was longer than a minute. I was looking at the wrong number on my computer screen, waiting for it to change. And it was the date, not the time. I've done that before. So I hope that in that exploration, you could get a little glimpse at the quality of our mind on the object and recognizing whether it's like, yeah, let me on it versus, okay, I'll get on it. But as soon as I have something else to think about, it'll go there. And then no, come back. That's the struggle Lama Christie was pointing out, which, if we're having the struggle, can we reinterpret that whole pattern as a game? How quickly can I catch it before it pops off, before I coax it back again? Or how far off does it go? Right? We could make it into our own personal video game, right? and you're running the controls and it starts to go, no, bring it back. Yeah, whatever is gonna work. And then one tool is uh the tool she used was recall the importance of reaching stillness so that we can see emptiness directly. And she didn't even go to, and we want to see emptiness directly because there's so much suffering in the world. But that would be another tool to help motivate our mind to stay on the object. And then she used the, well, this could be my last opportunity. And that's like one way of using our own impermanence to increase our motivation. You could also take that one and say to yourself, when I'm on my object, like that's when I'm I don't know how to answer that, finish that. But where I'm going is that we can say to ourselves, if I lose my object, something is going to kill me. Like if that would motivate you to say, I've got to be on that object, and the instant I lose it, I could be dead. Like that term, meditate like your hair's on fire. It's meant to be this, like, wake us up and charge us up. For some of it, it's like, whoa, no, that's over the top. That makes me so agitated. I can't stay on my object at all. So we find the one that works for us, the one that makes our concentration go, ooh, like I want to hold on to that. And then it's natural or it's common that we're holding on to it and nothing more is happening. And our habit pattern is to do something, have something happen, react to it. Have something else happen, react to it. And when we're just parked on this one boring thing, the breath, the habit pattern is to want something different. And that habit pattern reveals to us that we don't really deeply believe the benefit of being able of training our mind to park on what we, the meditator, says to park on it. We don't really believe that that's beneficial. Yes, I do, or I wouldn't be in a class like this. But if we really did, we wouldn't be struggling to learn methods to get my mind back and stay on the object. We would just turn on that ability and it would happen. Wouldn't it be nice? I don't know. Maybe for you guys, it has been like that. For me, I'm still working with it. Master Kamala Shila has called the reasons why our mind repeatedly would rather think about something else or follow the noise into the car across the street is because we have some doubt in what we've learned so far. Doubt in either that it's true, or doubt that we can do it, or doubt that the methods we're using is the way to do it. Whatever our doubt is, there's something underneath that doesn't want to play. It doesn't want to succeed, maybe. Or maybe it's afraid of failing. We all have our own patterns, and there's probably more than one in most of us. That is what makes it such that that mind seems like it won't cooperate. So Master Kamala Shila is talking to us about those things, in a way giving us permission to say, okay, there's a part of me that either doesn't get it or doesn't really want to do it or doesn't think I can. And I'm willing to admit that and go looking for that pattern to see what I can do about it. Is there anything that we can't change once we are aware that we have it? No. Yeah, if we figure out what the seeds are for it, stop making the seeds, clean out the ones we have, make the opposite seeds, we can change that pattern, change that habit. But we have to know what it is we want to change in order to do so. Mm. So the quality of mind in meditation that's called NAR, the NGAR, intensity. For my own mind, I like to use curiosity or fascination or, thinking that there's something that's going to happen while I'm doing this practice that's really going to benefit somebody else. And it's like some combination of those thoughts, those ideas is what will get my mind brighter and more alert and more eager to try. Mm. So just intensity isn't descriptive enough for me. And Lama Christie called it passion. When we have passion for what we're doing, whatever we're doing, we are fully engaged, fully on it. And because of the passion, we're not struggling to stay involved in it. Uh, she also called it desperate fervor. Wow, desperate fervor is like bigger, more urgent than passion. Passion feels nicer than desperate fervor. Desperate fervor can get pushed too far, which there's some future class where she'll lead us through a meditation where she has us push beyond the object and then increase our intensity and increase it and increase it and increase it until we see the intensity push us off the object to experience that subtle form of agitation. And she'll also put us into a subtle form of dullness so that we can recognize it. And it's useful to do. It'll come later. It like popped in my mind in this session, so maybe we should go there, but not yet, I guess. So we want to find for our own mind's practice, meditation practice, what is the quality that we need to bring up in order to get the quality of mind that wants to stay on the object, whether the object is the boring old breath or the object is the Holy Lama's vision of the Holy Lama, or the object is working on figuring out where that mental affliction comes from. The quality of mind parked on an object is the same for all of them. When we have it, concentrated clarity and intensity, that quality of mind is not dictated by the object. Habitually, that's where we are. We can have those three qualities of mind if the object is interesting enough. But we want it to be under our control. Now, under whose control, that's a different story. That's for future classes. For right now, there is a you who's trying to have control over that mind. So if we are parking our mind on our object, the breath in, it won't stay there. Master Kamala Shila says that's evidence that we have doubt in the need to be able to put our mind on an object single-pointedly at our own determination. And if we have that doubt during the 1 hour a day of our meditation practice, you can bet you have that doubt during the other 23 hours of our day. The doubt in the benefit, the powerful goodness of having a mind that can be single-pointed on an object of our choice. Doesn't mean we need to be single-pointed every moment of the day. But when we need it, we can turn it on. And then we can turn it off. There's a piece in there about when we look deep down and we feel our motivation that we're doing everything in life for the benefit of others, right? With my growing bodhicitta, I'm doing this to reach my total enlightenment so that I can help anybody, let alone everybody, get free of their suffering. Then my meditation time would be the same. My ability to focus when I needed to focus would be there. If I'm thinking that the most powerful places that I do the deeds that help me become a Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings is out amongst what seem to me as suffering beings, with what seems to me a human suffering body, that if I think that the best place to help people is out in the world with worldly ways of helping them, then we are not believing that I can do more for the beings in my world from my meditation cushion than I can in my outer world, right? It's human. Come on, I sit on my meditation cushion. I'm not helping anybody do anything. In fact, I need them to be quiet for me. I'm making demands on them. And yeah, I know I have to do it because that's the practice, so that I can be the one that will stand on the billion planets. But meanwhile, I should be out taking the neighbor's garbage can in. I should be mowing their lawn. I should be, right? I've got all these worldly shoulds that seem more impactful for people than my meditation time. And do you see the mistake? It's during meditation time that I change my me, so that my me, when they take the garbage can in, can be taking the garbage can in as a cause for my own enlightenment instead of taking it in to help my neighbor have a nicer day. Does it help them have a nicer day? Yes. But then they die, or I die, or the trash can breaks, or who knows what. But still, even as I hear myself saying that, it's like, yeah, but today I had class early in the morning. And then I had the window washers coming in the middle of the time that I would have been on my cushion. So I didn't sit in my cushion so that I could go and answer the door for the window washers. You know, what a stupid thing to let my practice time go for their convenience. So I still owe myself my practice time, and it'll be, 9 o'clock before I get there. And then I'll be tired. Yeah, and it's like, I thought being nice to the window washers was more important than getting on my cushion this morning. Do you see? I still do it. Think that my worldly life is where I help people. But I also get to brag on myself that when I was doing retreats regularly, it was so clear to me that I could do more for my outer world from in retreat than I ever could in my outer world. And I was eager to get into retreat and eager to get back into retreat once I was out of retreat. It takes both being in and being out, just like it takes both being on the cushion and not on the cushion. But there's this doubt, thinking that my cushion time is less important, less impactful on my outer world. And that's where Master Kamala Shila and Jetsun Kappa and the other masters, that's where they go. But how do we show ourselves that, in fact, our meditation time is not just as impactful, but even more impactful? Is that they help us recognize more clearly the root of the misperception that is the cause of all the distress in our outer world that we see, that we even need to fix. To be able to remove that deep root misunderstanding, we have to be able to reach that meditative stillness from which we can clearly analyze the appearing nature and the absence of true nature in order to grow the wisdom which comes from that direct experience that allows us to change that outer world by way of our interactions with it. So they're going to help us look for the doubt that's in the form of our belief in the self nature of functioning things. Actually, Master Kamala Shila focuses on our belief in the self-existence of functioning things. And it's odd, right? We would think that they would be going for the belief in a self-nature of me. If you can get to the true nature of your me, surely that would be the root shift that would change us. But apparently, our me as a functioning thing is a stronger belief than even our me as a self-existent thing, interestingly. And then remember that, like the thing that separates mind only Mahayana from middle way Mahayana is the belief that if something functions, it has to have some nature of its own, right? Not self-existent, nobody thinks that, but some nature of its own. And then if we get over that, oof, we really are at middle way. Is like the background for Master Kamala Shila's text, this Gombe Rinpa that we're studying. Mm-hmm. So there was a verse in the end of our course one, I think. No, end of course 2, that I wanted to show you again. Reading 9 from class 2. That I need to share it for you to see it. And then make us bigger so I can see all of you. There we go. With everybody, that's everybody. So I'm going to read it, but you can see it. Is it big enough to see? Where's my cursor? Where's the cursor? All right. Back then, Master Kamala Shila said, "Come to rest in the mind alone and stop imagining objects outside. Fix yourself on the object of thusness. Then apply this to even the mind itself. Once you have gone beyond the mind itself, then go beyond even the lack of an image. The yogi who rests in that absence of image is he who sees the greater way." I love that series of verses. I remember having memorized it once, which means I didn't memorize it because I don't still have it, but I worked with it a lot. I find it so beautiful. And it's going to take the rest of our book jinpa study. So we have course 3 and course 4. 4 is a half of 1, I think, to dig into this deeply enough. What we've done so far in this class isn't even talking about what this verse is getting us to. We were just exploring what are the factors that are influencing my ability to stay on my object at all. Those who have been studying Mahamudra, this maybe makes a little more sense, because coming to rest on the mind alone is something that we've spent, 6 months together working on being able to do. So we'll dig into this more. At this level, we're recognizing that the key even to being able to get to fixation in our meditation is understanding dependent origination and emptiness, even at our beginning levels. We can learn to concentrate really well without knowing anything about emptiness and karma. But understanding emptiness and karma shows us that it's not just effort or willpower that allows us to get rid of the doubt and be able to park our mind on the object. Because those experiences, getting rid of the doubt and parking on the object, will be ripening results of behaviors towards others that plant seeds that ripen as this positive result of being on our object deeply enough to penetrate into the truth of that process of seeds being planted by our mind and then ripening into our experience of our mind. And so it's really this circular situation. The better we understand where things really come from, the better we can create the causes for the outcome that we want, which is a deepening meditation, so that we can experience emptiness directly. So will that be a pleasant result to reach being a shamatha level meditator? Will that be a pleasant thing? I think so, right? If it's what we want and then we achieve it, Is that a good thing? I mean, technically, even if what you wanted was, I don't know, think of something bad that you want, that one might want. I can't come up with anything. But if we wanted something bad, and then that bad thing happened to us, we would have to say, well, I'm happy that that bad thing happened to me because that's what I wanted, right? It's absurd because who's going to do that? But technically, you could because if you plant the seeds for something bad, you will get a bad result. So if you know what bad result you want, go plant the seed for it. And you're going to get it eventually. And then you achieve something that you intended, and that'll be a good result. See how slippery it gets? So we want to plant the seeds for a result that is, in fact, something we want, through which we are making progress on our path. So the thing we're looking at wanting to want is this ability to focus our mind on our object of choice with sufficient focus, fixation, and clarity that we can hold it there as we then go on and investigate the appearing nature of that object and whether or not that appearing nature appears in the way we ordinarily think or not. And if we can show ourselves that it doesn't, in fact, exist in the way it appears to exist, then we've shown ourselves that it has what we call an empty nature, a no self nature. And when we can show ourselves that intellectually and park ourselves on that conclusion with the focus, clarity, and intensity, that conceptual aha is the opportunity for the experience to shift to a direct experience, no longer conceptual. In which case we are shifting from growing what's called sherab, which is the greater and greater, more and more subtle conceptual understanding of emptiness and dependent origination, shifting over to yeshe, wisdom, which is the direct experience of dependent origination and then emptiness. So he's going to help us understand the difference between a conceptual experience and direct experience. And it'll take us a couple classes to do that, to understand that we're growing our meditation career in order to be able to be aware as we go through these steps of deepening awareness of the experience we're having as we do our meditation on our object. All right, let me see. So first off, Master Kamala Shila reminds us that the karmic cause of deepening meditation is deepening morality. That as our behavior becomes more and more adverse to harming others and more inclined to helping others, especially when those two are colored by our bodhicitta, our wish to reach that ultimate goal for all sentient beings, those seeds that are being planted are contributing to a mind that gets more, they use the word still, less distracted on and off the cushion. Somehow, being more and more intentionally kind makes a mind that will get more and more still. Not meaning parks on one word and doesn't move off of it, but meaning you park it on your topic at hand, and that mind will not pay any attention to the traffic noise. It won't pay any attention to the itch on your fanny. It won't pay any attention to suddenly being hungry. All of that can happen, and there's no actual awareness of it. So you don't know whether it's happening or not, and who cares? Because you're on the object. It also will not let itself drift into, nah, not so interested in this anymore, still on the object. It stays in that keen, bright focus. That's what we mean by stillness. From stillness, we can then take that fine focus and drive it onto the appearing nature, empty nature of the object with that same focus, clarity, and intensity. Do you see? So a stillness mind doesn't mean it can't then start thinking about emptiness. It won't do it on its own. We, the meditator, has to say, okay, mind, now's the time. And we start this analysis. It requires thinking. It requires knowing what to think. So we learn these different methods of analyzing our experience for what appears to be going on. And then we check to see if it can really be that way, consistent with how we experience it. Those who did Heart Sutra deep dive learned how to do this. And then we look at, well, if it doesn't exist in that way, what way does it exist? And we come to the recognition of the seeds ripening. And we recognize then that, oh my gosh, it can't exist in any other way than that because it's appearing to me. So with all these different meditations that we've learned and will learn, they are all these different methods, nuances to basically applying that sequence. And then we find the one we like and play with it for a while, and then try a different one when it goes dry. But then at some point, we don't want to rely on guided meditations anymore, right? Stop playing the thing on your phone and do your own meditation. Do it yourself, because we need to be able to go through that sequence on our own, because we won't always have the audio playing when we're walking down the street. We want to be able to do it ourselves. All right, let's see here. So Master Kamalashila is pointing out, like the party line says, the better our morality gets, the better our meditative concentration will get, and then the better our conceptual understanding of emptiness will get, because our concentration is so much clearer when we're doing our analysis. And then all that goodness can ripen into growing wisdom, which technically the wisdom isn't wisdom until we have the direct perception of emptiness. But, you know, the lamas say, you are growing wisdom. when you reach those high conceptual understandings of emptiness and karma, call it wisdom, right? To help us stay on the path. So, yes, we're growing our wisdom. And then as our wisdom grows on cushion, when we're off cushion, we have an even greater aversion to doing anything that might upset somebody, might do some harm, because we understand so much clearly, so much more clear that we're just hurting everybody. Right? The only reason I would be willing to hurt somebody is that I think it's going to benefit me in some way. And as my wisdom grows, I see that that's just absurd. You know, if I crush a bug and my ribs crushed as theirs crushed, I would only do it once. Or if I saw it happen to somebody else, I hope I'd be smart enough to never do it myself. But because it doesn't happen like that, we convince ourselves that, well, this time it's okay, right? Because last time there was a this time it was okay. I did it and the bug actually went away. And so I think I did a good thing. And it's like, no. So as my wisdom grows, I won't fall for that kind of human logic anymore. And it shows in my behavior. And then because my behavior is getting more and more considerate, my meditation gets more and more considerate. They say, frankly, I still feel like I'm in the gap personally. But then I think, well, what would my meditations be like if I hadn't been as intentionally kind as I have been for years? Probably I wouldn't even be a meditator at all. So I can't really justify saying this can't be true because I've been kind my whole life and I still don't think I meditate well. That's a whole nother story. How do I know whether I meditate well? Because I have no idea what somebody else's meditating mind is like. You know, maybe I'm comparing mine to some ideal that nobody achieves. I don't know. But the point is, we'll even struggle against the explanation of the way to get our meditation to go deeper is to be intentionally more kind, more helpful off our cushion. Right? Geshe calls it the still lake, right? Don't disturb somebody else's still lake if you want your own mind still lake to be there when you want it. And if we understood the connection between my behavior and my experience, it would not be a struggle. That's where Master Kamalashi is going. The reason morality improves concentration, improves reason, is because morality makes positive karmic seeds. And positive karmic seeds can ripen as my improved meditation, because my improved meditation moves me closer and closer to the wisdom that proves to me that my morality creates my future. During one of the Mixed Nuts translations, I think it was, Geshe said this beautiful thing. I even wrote it down. He said, Buddhism is not about whether things self-exist or not. And Buddhism is not about how they do or don't exist. Buddhism is about the fact that everything depends upon how we treat others. Like everything depends upon morality. If things exist with their qualities and identities in them, there would be no morality. There would be no effect of our deeds on others affecting our mind because we couldn't affect others. If their qualities and identities are in them, there's nothing we could do to them that would change them. And all of a sudden, it just becomes absurd to think something has its own nature in it. And it's like absurd in my head. But as soon as I look out there, I'm thinking, right, there you all are, you in you. Even as I know each one of you is unique to my experience. Hey, you are real and you are unique to me. You're coming from my seeds. Thank you very much for being so wonderful. So, this pattern, kindness begets deeper meditation. We want to continue to prove that to ourselves again and again and again. And it's hard because we're still thinking that, no, wait, it's hard because we are believing that what I do off my cushion is more important than what I do on my cushion. And here it's saying, actually, that's kind of true, as long as what we do off our cushion is being done in order to empower our on our cushion time. So as long as our off cushion time is choosing to follow our vowed morality or just morality, period, in order for our meditation to go deeper, then our off cushion time maybe is more important than on cushion time until we've reached stillness. Because our off cushion time is what's planting the seeds to be able to reach stillness. That doesn't mean we'll reach stillness without sitting on our meditation cushion every day. We need to give it the opportunity to ripen. Let's take a break. I yak through break time. I'm so sorry.
Matt, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So the meditation was interesting. Uh, I felt like I was on like a lazy river, like floating on my breath, but completely stayed here. And then like my thoughts or random things that just came up for like quick moments were like passing by. Like So that was different and like there wasn't as much effort, but there was like really clear like I'm here. Like a lot of time I found that I'm like so like tight, like trying to like stay focused, focus, focus. And then it's like very exhausting. And so this time it was very like totally focused right here, aware. And then you said like think of it as our last meditation or something, right? Like and so I thought of my death, like right, and it was like the thought that came up was being eaten by a shark. I don't know why, but maybe I've seen it. I saw it on the news earlier today. And like and I can feel my body like kind of like almost like embracing for impact, but then my mind was like it's okay, it's for everyone, it's like for all beings, like and then it was like back to the flowing on the river, like on
Good.
this lazy river. So that was
Good.
really weird.
Nice. Yeah, good.
Okay, I don't know if when you're saying like think of like as our last thing we're supposed to think of death, but it wasn't like scary. It was like
Good. Yeah, that's okay.
positive.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's all right. It's all right. That to me, I see that as evidence of the Mahamudra work you've been doing. That
Okay.
being able to get that sense of being on the object without the tension is helpful. Remember that.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember that feeling.
That was nice.
Eh,
I have a question too, Lama Sarani, if I could real quick. You,
Really, Martin.
you were talking about the meditation in another class you taught where there's a progression of, you know, what it appears to be. Can it really be that way? If it doesn't exist that way, how does it exist? Is there somewhere I can find that written down to do a
Yeah,
meditation on that?
yeah, yeah. In the in Geshe Michael's Heart Sutra practice module, if those have been transcribed,
Okay.
if you find the meditations in that program,
Under
it
the daily
feels that
practices?
in the daily practices, right?
Oh, okay, great.
It's from that. It's
Cool.
called
Thank you.
Kedrub J's four-step emptiness meditation.
Thank you.
Yep. Are we back? So Lama Christie added that when we are trying to live according to Bodhisattva morality, it it means holding to our morality regardless of uh, how things appear to be happening to us in our right in that given circumstance. And so it's that example we've been using, the angry yelling boss, and my usual reaction is to lie to wiggle out of whatever they're blaming me for. This bodhisattva morality isn't just, no, I'm not going to lie because that would be bad. It's like, how can I respond in this situation in the highest way for everybody? And it really bucks the system because all of our usual conditioning for how to react includes what people expect us to do. And so we're inclined to act that way just because that's what we're expected. It's like we're struggling against all of those habit patterns in order to hold to this higher conviction of, being able to say, I'm sorry, you're upset with me. How can I help you? When the last thing you want to do is help the person who's blaming you for something you didn't even do. So it really, right, the practice of morality is not a simple thing. It's a constant effort of checking our quality of mind. And so it takes a high level of concentration to do it. Ta-da, maybe that's why it builds our meditation. Okay. So then, once our meditation is deepening to the point where we are reaching stillness regularly, then the hmm, we don't that part of stillness is the pleasure that comes on from that high level of effortless concentration. It's pleasurable. And then the risk is, wow, this feels so good. I'm really on my object. I'll just stay here for a while. And then your timer goes off and it's like, oh, we didn't use the opportunity to use that pleasurable state of body and mind to then penetrate into the appearing nature, the true nature, and the no self nature aspect of the experience that we were having. So Master Kamala Shila says that when we grow our concentration, we're using it to grow our wisdom, our analysis by knowledge, Sharam, and our wisdom, Yeshe. And it takes both of those. It takes both actually to have either one, technically. But most importantly, he says we can't expect to be able to do clear analysis, let alone reach wisdom, if we don't have the concentration. And those two are also explained as stillness and special insight, or shamatha and vipassana, or shine and lakton, right? Depending on the language. And he says those two, concentration and growing knowledge, stillness and wisdom, they are like the pair of having eyes to see and light. That we can have eyes to see but no light and we wouldn't see anything. And there could be light if we don't have eyes to see, we're still not going to see anything. It takes both eyes to see and light. To reach wisdom. So, the eyes to see is that that would be the stillness, the meditative concentration ability. And then the light would be the concept, the idea, the emptiness factor. And to be able to experience that wisdom, we need both. And it's like seeds. I see and hear the seeds of two things that are in fact one thing is a recurring theme in our teachings. And so here's another example of it. We use our stillness not as a goal in and of itself, no matter how pleasurable it is, but as a tool to reach the wisdom of the true nature of the object of our stillness. All right. So then when we investigate our meditative object with our stillness mind for its appearing nature and actual nature, we need to apply our ability to recognize how it is that what's appearing to us is appearing as little bits of information that our mind is applying an identity and qualities and thus a story to. And it's like, that's a really long story how we get to that. So fortunately, we've already, all of us, heard the punchline so that I can go a little bit faster with it. I don't need this anymore. Let's get rid of it. I lost my cursor. I can't stop sharing without my cursor, and my cursor is lost. There it is. There it is. Ha. Thank you, whoever found the cursor. All right, that's better for everybody, right? So when we have an experience in or out of meditation, let's just talk about an experience through vision, a visual experience. We have all heard the explanation that what's actually happening as we experience our friend the pen is that there's information, color, and shape that the eyeball picks up. And then the mind processes, interprets, rearranges those colors and shapes, and is forced to come up with an identity. And with the identity, qualities function, but the story, it's like dominoes. So my mind goes color, shape, tip, thing, pen. And as soon as it's pen, even if it's not the word pen, the mental image pen with pen is full of ink. I can write with it. Writing communicates, all of that happens from just these small indications. But now if we really tried to pin it down, can colors and shapes give me enough information to come up with all of that? What's the color? Red and white, a little silver. See it shine? A little black. There are all kinds of things that are red and white and black. What's red and black? White and black and red all over. Remember that old riddle? What newspaper? The what's happening? Little bits of information that our mind goes, ah, pen. So let's do an experiment. Do you see? Do you see what's on the board? What's your mind making of it? Not much, right? Little black dots on a fuzzy looking something that your mind is making whiteboard out of, which I don't know what makes whiteboard out of this stuff. There's nothing white about it except right here. But anyway, watch. Watch your mind. Don't watch what I do so much, but watch your mind. Let's see what I can do. So here's your little bits of information. I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, watch. More bits of information. Oh, can you even see it? Yeah.
Uh-huh. Already put it together.
Oh, who did that?
My mind, I watched it.
Yeah, crazy. What did it make?
It's love.
The word love. Come on. There's nothing love in that. How much information does your mind need to make pen? How much information does your mind need to make Sarani teaching a class right now? Does it need anything from this? Oh, trick question.
No.
We'll make pen now, Mike. You did it.
My seeds went away.
Right. Right. The information went away. Make the word love on the board now. Make it now. It's like you can't not see it now, right? For those who have seen it, you can't not see it. Just like we can't not see the cockroach in the kitchen sink. But the cockroach in the kitchen sink is also little bits of information that our mind goes, eek, cockroach in my sink. But it's no different than that word on the board. So when we are sitting in meditation and we're finally on our object sufficiently that we can start deconstructing, because my mind's on my holy angel Lama image. It's like how much of this information is not coming from my mind? Well, come on, you're imagining them in front of you. All of it's coming from your mind. But what about the one who represents the one you're imagining? How much of them is coming from your mind? How is it any different? Okay, so let's do a little experiment, our own mental experiment, right? Not a proper meditation, but I'm going to guide you through some thinking, right? So sit again, please. Bring your attention to your breath. And in your mind's eye, picture you're holding a cup. Get it clear. What kind of cup is it? What color is it? Now, without a lot of analysis, bring to mind your like general idea, general picture of the emptiness of that cup. You're still seeing the thing, the cup, and you're knowing something about emptiness about it. Now, feel what it feels like outside of meditation to take that cup and use it. Feel how, as you interact with it, you are somehow seeing it, experiencing it wrongly. Can you find it? Go back to the cup in your mind's eye, being aware of its emptiness. And then go again to you outside of meditation using the cup. Can you feel what pops up that wasn't there in the previous experience of the idea of the cup and its emptiness? Something about us says, yeah, in my real life, I can hold the cup, I can fill it with juice, I can drink from it. In my meditating cup, I can't touch that one, I can't use that one. But now tell yourself why the cup that your outside meditation you is using cannot be, just cannot be. And when you reach why it cannot be, park your mind there. Okay, go back to the meditating cup, aware of its emptiness. And then let that go and come back to this you and this body in this room in this class. When you're ready, open your eyes. Deceptively simple exercise in feeling that feeling of the difference between an imaginary object, what we think is an imaginary object, and what we think is a real object, and how they both have the same nature of being an object ripening from our mind. And I don't know, when I get that glimpse, it just makes me want to laugh out loud because the what I'm doing is just so crazy absurd. But I can't hold it when I'm not, right? When I'm holding the cup, I can't hold the absurdity of holding the cup. That it could be the cup that I think is here. That example, Jetson Kappa, he says, when we are picturing the cup in our mind, we are experiencing what comes from indications at a beginner's, like at the first level. Even when we were imagining the cup, in our imagination, it's still that our mind is taking little indications of something and coming up with an imaginary cup. And so right there, we have the first start of becoming aware of what it is to be aware of what comes from indications. And at first we say what comes from indications is the cup. But inherent in that explanation is the cup that has its identity in it. And that's a contradiction. If we say, if all I have is indications and then there's a cup, then the cup has to come from my mind, not the indications. And yet the very cup that we are aware of is a cup in it. Like what comes out of the indications is a cup with its own nature. Which is why we need to see ourselves experiencing the indications without the cup. To prove to ourselves that the cup is not in or even on the indications. Like you saw all the little dots and all of a sudden it was the word love without even the word love there. It was your mind. The cup does the same thing because we don't get all the information. I see the front of the cup, don't I? No, you see the front of the cup. But none of us see the bottom of the cup or the inside of the cup. But does the cup I'm holding have a bottom and an inside? Yeah, we know it does. And we can use that awareness of knowing something is there that we can't see to grow the ability to know the emptiness of this cup that we can't see as we are experiencing the cup. Right? So if we say, I can't ever see the emptiness of an appearing thing, it's like, well, we have the seeds for seeing things that aren't there. Maybe we need to do some rejoicing in that. It's like, wow, I do know things are there that I can't see directly. May it be emptiness. So they say there are 3 stages of vision. This seeing the indications, that's where I started. There's the mental cup. Then recognizing what comes from seeking. Master Kamala Jetsun Kappa explains it, which is when we start trying to investigate what part of that cup shows me cup to find that, man, it can't be there the way that I think. That's what comes from seeking. And then that which comes from analysis is we take what comes from seeking, which is the appearing cup, and deconstruct that with our analysis to come to see that, oh my gosh, that appearing cup is still not a cup, so that it can be a cup for me. As it becomes the cup from the indications, from the seeking, the no cup nature of the cup gets so clear that we see how it is that it can in fact be a cup for me without it becoming a cup for it or for anybody else. The analysis that comes, or that which comes through analysis. When we reach that analysis, we've gotten there through thinking about it, and we come to this high, clear conceptualization of what our conclusion is, which required putting this together with that, together with that, together with that to come up with an aha. And that's still conceptual. And what we're growing is the ability for that conceptual experience for us to sit in it and penetrate it somehow until it becomes direct. A direct experience of emptiness is not understanding this and this and this and putting it together to come up with that. It is direct. It's hard to even conceive because I'm not sure there's anything we experience directly until we have seen emptiness directly. Because our seeds have always been taking information and coming up with something. And so all of our seeds ripening are going to be doing that as well. And we say, oh, I'm experiencing holding this pen directly. But it technically isn't, because I'm not directly experiencing it as seeds ripening and nothing but. And until I'm directly experiencing it that way, I'm experiencing it in a way that my mind is going veet, 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 veet to come up with me holding pen. So am I doing it? Yes. That seems like a direct experience because it's not like somebody else is holding the pen and I'm imagining I'm holding the pen. I'm really doing it. But it's not a direct experience in the sense of the direct yogic experience of dependent origination and then ultimate reality. So even the direct experience of dependent origination, we can't sit there and imagine the seed ripening and going out and making the pot on the stove because that'll be one that we've conceptualized. It has to be something that all of a sudden, that's happening. And the power of that being a direct experience is the power that'll push us into, and nothing exists in any other way than that if we run and jump on our meditation cushion after that experience happens, as I understand, right? I don't know. Okay, so this sequence of recognizing indications becoming an appearing thing, and that the appearing thing isn't anything other than the mind making the appearing thing out of indications or onto indications, not sure how to say it correctly, and recognizing that the mind is making the thing, not the indications, and the thing doesn't exist in any other way than that. That sequence requires being at the level of shamatha in order for that sequence to be able to push us into vipassana, into the direct perception of emptiness. It takes both, like it took the eyes and the light to reach the intellectual understanding. We need still the concentration and the ability to analyze with clarity in order to have the pair of shamatha and vipassana happening. Poof. Okay. There's one more part Lama Christie wanted to talk about, and that was about the preliminaries to meditation. So Master Kamala Shile isn't talking about it. She's using Nultra Dharmapadra's text. And she reminded us that the first meditation preliminary for our career is to clean up your space every day. And then she said one of the reasons to do that is that anything in samsara that you let go unattended is rapidly deteriorating And then to make an effort to clean it up or to fix it up each day supposedly slows down that deterioration. That would make a great debate. What I do in the moment does not change what happens in the next moment. So I don't think my cleaning up the space is going to make the space last any longer necessarily. And cleaning up the space isn't going to make my mind 10 minutes later any cleaner. But cleaning up the space every day is planting the seeds for cleaning up my mind every day. And that's going to help my practice in the long run. Then the second preliminary is the habit of making offerings, not because the holy beings need it, but as a method for gathering the goodness that assures us in the future of having our needs met, having the things that we need to be able to make offerings, right? So we make offerings allows us to have the resources to continue to make offerings in the future. Also, in the long run, makes us into beings who are receiving offerings. But again, it's not that I make an offering today and tomorrow I can expect, tons of incense to show up at my doorstep. And it isn't even really for getting the stuff back. It's for gathering the goodness that can ripen as my meditation going deep enough to grow the wisdom that makes me into a being that anybody wants to make offerings to. That means I can help them in some way or have helped them in some way. Then the next preliminary is taking refuge. And thank goodness we've been trained in refuge so clearly. It's not about expecting the statue or the textbooks or even the ordained robed people to stop the speeding bullet coming at my head. It's to help me change my reaction to pleasant and unpleasant things happening by way of how those three jewels have taught me about where things come from. So recalling that the Buddha jewel is a being who went from suffering being to totally enlightened being. So they made all the mistakes and they did all the goodness and they know what worked for them. And maybe they can help me too. And then taking that one step further is that my own personal holy guide being is the one that I see as the one who's done that and now is directly connected to me, loves me enough to be willing to do what they need to do to get me to gain those realizations as well. And so I can rely upon what they teach me. I don't expect them to, provide for me. I don't expect them to make miracles for me. What I expect from them is to be there when I need guidance. And that a deepening level of refuge is to become more and more keenly aware of what they are as a fully enlightened being, how they became a fully enlightened being. They overcame their misperception of their self-existent self in a world of functioning things and came to grow their love and their compassion so big that all the seeds they planted with those two states of mind grew their wisdom to the point where they are directly experiencing every existing thing in all three times. And then that love manifests as everything anybody needs in order to move them along the path as well. That does not mean that anybody necessarily sees what they're experiencing as the love of that Buddha, but we could, right? If we have the goodness to even consider it, we can say, well, maybe, right? Anything or anybody is their emanation helping me? And we can see how dangerous and slippery that could be for people not yet ready. And so we tend to start with just one being who does seem to be extra special for us. And we devote ourselves to them and we ask for their help and their guidance. And as we understand them better and better, and we understand that their goodness is coming from our seeds, whoa, where we might decide they really live is not so much some Buddha paradise, 17 light years away, but rather right here in my refrigerator of heart seeds, right? They're available to me if I could just remember or think of it that way. In which case I could, as my refuge, like any time I need to make a decision, tune myself into them and say, what should I do? Right? Like, I think I know what I should do, but they've got the wisdom I don't have. What should I do? And then maybe you hear this little voice, go take a bath. Yeah, but no. Like if I make the determination I'm going to listen and they say, go take a bath, the yeah, but is like, forget yeah, but go take a bath. Go to your neighbor and see what they want. Yeah, but go. Right? It's a hard practice to surrender to a lama. Maybe it's harder if you actually have them out in front of you and they say, go take a bath. Yeah, but maybe it's harder to listen to the voice inside because we don't believe, oh, I'm just making it up. I must really want to take a bath right now. And I'm not allowed to do the things I really want to do. Am I? Oops. Right? I'm getting distracted. But refuge is the guidance in karma and emptiness and using that in our decision making. And Lama Christie said, start first thing in the morning. You wake up in the morning and whatever your state of mind is, oh God, another day. Bring up some way in which your refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha can bring you some uplift and some eagerness to do the practice on that day. She suggested take result refuge, which is, enlightened beings who are omniscient and see all three times know me, this one. So they also know my fully enlightened me already, because that's in the future. So at least for the Buddhas, my fully enlightened me already exists. Okay, I'll buy that. Hi. Right? I rely upon you. It uplifts me a little bit now to think, wow, right? I really, that fully enlightened me actually already does exist. It's a little slippery, but maybe that's uplifting. Maybe that's even more discouraging, in which case don't use it. Find something else that'll kick us out of that doldrums of having another day. On the other hand, maybe it's like, oh, I've got to face that jerk at work again today. I really don't want to do it because they're going to push that button and blah, blah, blah. Then we use our refuge in karma and emptiness, thinking through the emptiness and karma of the three spheres of that jerk at work until we have a plan for how we'll try to interact with them and plant different seeds. And we get a little more eager to go and try it on for size in that morning. Use our understanding of karma and emptiness, our refuge, to shift our habit pattern starting first thing in the morning. Says Master Kamala Shila says, Jetsun Kappa says, Lama Christie, so I get to say it to you. Not just the words. I go for refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Right? If you have to change the words to make them real, change the words. So that it's a useful tool, taking your refuge. Okay. I'm out of time, but Lama Christie gave us one more meditation. So I'll just say it to you so that you can have it from the transcript, and then you can try to for size. What she said was, you focus your mind on your breath. You imagine yourself in a most exquisite, beautiful place for meditation. Like it's so fabulous. Take a little time to do that. Then you invite into that place with you your own holy, perfect angel guide, that being who is the manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom. And you see them there with you. And you recognize that they had to have done the deeds that brought them to their renunciation, brought them to their path of accumulation, their path of seeing, their bodhisattva deeds, all the way to their path of no more learning. And that love makes them radiate, emanate out. And the one I see is that emanation just for me. And I haven't had those experiences that they've had. And so I really don't know what they know about what I need to know. And so I can feel my devotion to them. I can feel that I want their love to help me grow me into them, into a emanation of them. And feel your connection, your like deep, deep holding, wishing, asking, begging, please help me, please help me, please help me. And feel their, like, they are helping, they want to help, they want us to turn our minds open to them. They can't make us do it. And once we do it, the floodgates will open when we truly surrender. And so just in this little short meditation that she gave, let yourself receive those floodgates of their blessing. And make your own determination to be brave enough to follow that guidance. Give yourself permission to change. And then you would go from there on into whatever your other meditation was going to be, she said, because this is an act of refuge. So you'll see in your reading, it's described in a more Buddhist ritual way. And if you like the Buddhist ritual way, do it that way. And if you like this more personal way, do it this way. Yeah. Make your refuge. A deep connection with that holy being. Okay, thank you for the extra 5 minutes. Please forgive me. And remember that the person we wanted to be able to help at the beginning of class. Having them as our motivation helps us understand in a higher way whatever it is we heard. And so please be happy with yourself. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone you can hold in your hands. Recall that precious holy being. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please, please, please stay close, to continue to guide you, help you, inspire you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And they carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It fills us so full. We want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it. By the power of the goodness that we've just done, may all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person, to share it with everyone you love, to share it with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with loving kindness, filled with wisdom, and may it be so. Okay. Thank you so very much for the opportunity